Fear not, citizen. Justice will be served. You're in good hands.
The defense is wrong.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Hello. Oh, I need to make me bigger. Hi. So, hi, PJ. Wanted to show some love. Got called into work for some meetings. Replay crew. I can't talk. Replay crew. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Frank, I saw you in here. Bad and Bougie. 304. Thank you. Hello, hello. Hello, everyone else coming in, whether you're in the bushes, lurking, whether you're a hater. Thank you for being here today. I usually don't go live on Fridays, but we had a lot going on this week. Hello, Aurora. It was an eventful week, you guys. Really eventful. So I'm not going to go over everything, but I've got an update for a case that I went over last summer. My life isn't there anymore, obviously. Hey, Matt, good to see you. We know why, but there's a case that I went over last summer. We've got some updates on it. And so it's pretty disturbing. It's the Dusty, I call him Dusty, but it's Dustin and Cherie Walker, that case. So this week, we've had an update on the Ted Bundy case. We've had a victim linked to him through DNA. We've had a breakthrough in the Texas Killing Fields case. Tim Miller, we had a breakthrough with an arrest in that case. Tim Miller is the co-founder of Equisearch here in Texas, and his daughter is Laura Miller, who was a victim of one of the victims in the Texas Killing Fields case. So that was huge news. Other things, 2 news clips I'm going to play. Well, 3. 2 of them being Letitia Stout. Frank did a great job reading the appeal documents yesterday. If you guys want to go over to his channel and listen, he read all the documents for that. Her appeal got overturned. So we're going to see a retrial in that case, unfortunately. And then I'm sure a lot of you know about the Gabriel Fernandez, that case. Well, Pearl tried to get a resentence on that, and luckily, I'm pretty sure that was denied. So we're going to go over those first, and then we're going to get into can you guys stop? Stop. Oh my God, my dogs. Every time I start this, they want to go. They want to start. I'm not seeing. Make sure that I've got all messages, and I'm not in top chat, because if I don't address you or I'm not seeing your comments, it's just because I'm not seeing them. I'm not ignoring you. I promise. Here, go away. Go away. Bye. Thank you. All right. So let's go ahead. I wanted to go ahead and put that up there. Big trigger warning on all these cases. Should we start with snacks first? Because I do have a couple snacks. I'm not gonna go heavy in the snacks department today because I don't want to be long too live. Frank actually has a live after this. But oh, for sake. But I do have a couple things, and I need to clean over here because I have way too many things going on. Oh my God. Way too many things going on over here. Got to just throw it all on the ground. Okay. So I'm a mess today. Snacks are always a good idea. I always figure snacks are a good start to like a good way to start the show since it's usually like, heavy topics. So I found these salt egg yolk flavor potato chips. So we're going to try these. I also found some, I'm guessing, butter toast crisps. I don't know. And some sour power pickle straws. And for a drink, let's see. Let's see what we've got in the mini fridge. You guys want to come with me to the mini fridge? There it is. Let's see. We'll do this latte, whatever this is. Pickle straws. All right, so let's start with some of these and then we'll get into all of the terrible, bad, awful things, okay? Terrible, bad, awful things. So, oh, you know what? I took my scissors in there, so hopefully I don't need. All right, Frank, I'm gonna do something really quick until I get a mod in chat. You're gonna be type for a second if you're still in here, Frank. I'll be right back. I gotta go get scissors. Oh, shit. Yep. I've done giving them power, you guys. Watch out. Watch out. Don't be banning people, Frank. Well, we know who you can ban, but unless I say elsewise, no banning anyone. Going invisible. Yeah, Aurora, hide. Hide, my friend. She doesn't talk that much anyway. We don't have to worry about her. All right. I don't know if I was supposed to shake this first. Oh my word. Hold on. Let me oh God. This is about to go everywhere. Watch. No, I'm not going to do that because I could already. No, I've given Frank the power. Now he's making up rules. He's gonna be putting people in the corner. All right, let's try. Let's give this whatever. See, I need to do that. There we go. Smell. Why does that smell weird? Why does that smell like dates? You know, like prunes? Why does it smell like prune juice? It's supposed to be coffee. Why does that taste like prune coffee? Oh God. Oh. All right. Next. Check the expiration date. Shit. Uh, It's on the bottom. I don't know. Wait. It says good till 27. Oh, all right. Well, onward to the Gudetama. Is that how you say that character's name? Gudetama? Gudetama? We're gonna go in for the salted egg yolk flavor. I like egg yolks, so use the pickle straw of the taste, right? All right. I need to stop smelling stuff before not having high hopes for this round of things. You know what? I'm gonna crunch it. Egg yolk. You know, I'm one of those I like a runny egg, but I cannot have any of the white part runny. Like it's got to be the white part has to be completely cooked. Um I'm also one of those my chips have to be crunched up. I don't like a full chip. I'm that weird girl. All right. Okay. Smells weird, but don't eggs smell weird anyways? Frank, stop it. These are actually, I like these. These are decent. And I can only imagine that these are butter toast crisps. It's a piece of butter toast, right? Oh God. Where is everybody? Look, I already lost one. I didn't think very many people were going to show up today. I don't usually do lives on Friday. And it's Good Friday, too. People are probably doing stuff. That's fine. All right. Oh, wait. Why am I doing this? I just said I was going to try this. I'm like going ahead of shit. All right. Let's try this. By the way, I get all of these snacks at a little place. What is it? Oh, what the hell is this? It's like the smallest amount of crouton. They look like croutons. And there's like a handful. You see the bottom of the bag? There's like, hey, cool. Good to see you. All right. Let's try our butter toast crouton. Mm-mm. 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 Home. Mm-mm. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. No. Uh-uh. No. Hey. Oh my God. Hey, Fashion Mullet. Why? Okay. I don't even know how to describe that. First off, it had the texture. Hi, Judy. It had, it was soggy like a baby had been sucking on it for like 5 minutes. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm a very like texture very very much matters to me. I don't like that. Oh God. That was disgusting. Anyways, these have to be good. The pickle straws have to be good. Hi Mark, good to see you. This is the last thing and then we're getting into it. I'm not willing to try anything else after this. So wait. Well, we have two that we have to try. It looks like there's a light one and then a green one. So okay. Tastes like a pickled juice. I just put it back in there. My husband's gonna be like, why is there half eaten? All right. Is that one supposed to be like the pickled juice? I wonder if this one's supposed to be like the pickle. It's different. What's that say? GMO and gelatin free. Well, that's what's wrong with them. Oh God. Yeah, the expressions are there. All right, I'm done with this. Onward. Onward. All right. So let's get into Gibbo. I'm going to get into your question here once we start that section of the things, but let's go on ahead and add this back to the stage. Trigger warning. I don't think I have to say this enough. Entering into my lives, y'all know what I do. I mostly cover kids' cases, anything and everything that has to do with kids and bringing awareness to their cases, to their names, to the people that harmed them. So with that being said, let's get into the most disgusting thing. Actually, I'm going to start with this one first because it's the shortest. I know many of you know this case, and if you don't know this case and you want to learn about this case, there's a documentary on Netflix that you can go watch, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not an easy documentary to watch. You're probably going to have to take breaks, and it's going to make you extremely angry. These two people are the most horrendous people I've encountered in a long time. But I didn't even know about this. When I saw this morning, putting my live together, it was news to me, and I was like, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and add this in here. So,
news at this hour, Pearl Fernandez, the mother convicted of killing her 8-year-old son Gabriel, will stay in prison. Fernandez is serving life in prison without the possibility of parole for the 2013 murder. Prosecutors say she and her boyfriend, Isauro Aguirre, routinely beat, starved, and tortured the 8-year-old boy. He was sentenced to death. About an hour ago, a judge denied Fernandez's request for resentencing. She claims she was pressured to accept her original plea deal and did not fully understand it.
All right. So, there's that. And that's pretty much all you need to know about that, is that she was denied. She's going to stay her ass right where she needs to be. The jury got it right. He's still got the, yeah. such a sad case. Oh my God. I rewatched that documentary not even 2 weeks ago, and the intro, and there's just that little space, and it's the cabinet, and it's just like, oh my God, it's so heartbreaking. Anyways, so he still got the DP, and Pearl knew exactly what was going on. She understood every bit of what was going on. She knew exactly what her sentence meant. She was just trying to do what she could to get out of it. And sorry, but your ass is staying right there. So there's that. And the next one, this next hideous person that we're going to talk about, we just found out about. And again, I'm going to direct you guys. Frank, you can drop your own link since you're the only mod in here right now. Frank did a great job yesterday reading the appeal documents on this. Miss Letitia Stout was approved for her appeal. It's fucking disgusting.
A bombshell update in the murder case of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. The Colorado Court of Appeals has reversed Letitia Stauch's conviction. She was found guilty of murdering Gannon. For more on what this all means, we're joined by investigative reporter Allison Zimmerman from the El Paso County Courthouse. Good afternoon, Allison.
Tony, good afternoon. I spoke with a Colorado Springs defense attorney, Jeremy Lowe, this morning. He told me this ruling is not surprising. Now, I want to walk you through some things that could happen now that the Court of Appeals has made this ruling. Lowe mentioned that the Supreme Court, the Colorado Supreme Court, could grant certiorari. That's essentially a review of the lower court's ruling. In this case, that would be the Court of Appeals. But they could also decline to not review that case. And also, the El Paso County District Attorney's Office here could also decide not to send this up to the Supreme Court. Now, he also shared a few different perspectives with me about this ruling, but ultimately, as I mentioned, he's saying this is not surprising. I did ask him, though, what he thought. He is a well-experienced defense attorney here in Colorado Springs. When he learned about the judge's decision not to dismiss this juror during the trial, here's what he said.
Why? There were hundreds and hundreds of prospective jurors. Why not just excuse this one challenge for cause? There were countless challenges for cause. Why not excuse this juror and pick somebody else where there's no chance that it's going to come back on appeal for a juror?
Exactly. And, the judge knew that. The juror knew that. So the fact that this juror just didn't get excused from the beginning, and that everybody knew that this was going to be a possibility from the start, makes me angry, because now we've got to go through a brand new trial. And so now we're dragging Gannon's family through this all over again. And Letitia has had so much time to sit and think about all the brand new lies that she's going to tell us all, and none of us want to hear it. I can't stand the sound of her screech. I can't stand the sound of her fake cries. I can't stand the sight of her. I don't think any of us can. Someone definitely dropped the ball, and I think she knew this. I think her attorneys knew this the second that I think before this ended, they already had this stuff filed. They were like, you know what? Let's get this going. And it just, this isn't doing anything for Gannon or his family. This is just letting Letitia out of her cage for a little while.
Bias issue.
Yeah, Frank. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of resources. It's beyond me.
And I want to bring you up to speed here on just what this ruling was with the Court of Appeals. So essentially, they argued that there was a biased juror on this case because one of the jurors has a son-in-law that works for the DA's office. Now, this was something.
A son-in-law that works for the DA's office. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Everybody should have known that that person shouldn't have been on the jury.
That the defense did bring up in the trial. The judge ultimately ruled not to dismiss that juror, but Jeremy Lowe argued that the law is pretty clear here in what it says. And one of the things it mentions is that if there is a third degree of relationship for a juror with an employee of a district attorney's office, then they should be dismissed. Now, we did hear from the El Paso County District Attorney's Office. They sent us a brief statement calling this opinion from the court disappointing, and they say Gannon's family and everyone who still loves him, this is also disappointing for them, and they're going to continue to pursuing justice in this case. Now, this means that the case will need to be retried. One of the things that Lowe and I talked about today is the cost that the community really bears in all of this. Is these trials, especially when you're talking about a murder case, these are not cheap cases to prosecute. And again, you're looking at all the attention that this case has gotten. We'll be following up to see just what the district attorney's office ends up doing. They did tell us that they are working with the attorney general's office to come up with a solution. Again, we're continuing to get more details on this developing story. We'll have much more coming up for you on News 5 at 5 and News 5 at 6. In El Paso County, Allison Zimmerman, News 5.
News.
Yeah, Judy, the judge absolutely dropped the ball on this one, because now we're going to have to go through everything all over again. And I really hope that they don't show those autopsy photos again, because I think all of us seeing them once was enough. Thank you, Law and Crime, for that. Then we've got this one, and then that's it for this.
Oklahoma couple is facing serious charges after authorities say the wife's 11-year-old.
Nope, that's not it. Hold on. That wasn't it.
It's a disappointing ruling, but I think it's a correct ruling.
A bombshell in the Colorado Court of Appeals. Judges tossing Letitia Stout's 2023 conviction for the murder of her 11-year-old stepson, Gannon, over one member of the jury who decided.
Let's go back. Look at that precious smile, you guys. Such a precious boy. We've lost way too many precious children because of selfish adults. Cruel, evil, demonic adults.
Son Gannon, over one member of the jury who decided her fate.
A father-in-law of a deputy district attorney sat on the jury.
Colorado Springs defense attorney Jeremy Lowe says it's a decision other lawyers like himself expected.
The law was very clear that when the elected district attorney is prosecuting the case, no family member of one of his deputies shall serve on the jury.
During jury selection, this juror, described in the ruling as Juror MB, disclosed that he was the father-in-law of a deputy DA in DA Michael Allen's office. Stout's attorneys at the time challenged the juror for cause, arguing state law prohibits someone who's related to either party from sitting on a jury. But prosecutors objected, and the judge agreed to keep Juror MB on the case. Former Denver DA Mitch Morrissey says it appears the judge had a lapse of judgment.
What the judge should have done is gone to the statute and looked at it. And I think that judges sometimes pick so many juries, they think they know everything as far as the rules go. And this is one that just got by the judge.
Morrissey's successor, former Denver DA.
A lapse of judgment? You're a judge. You're a judge. What do you mean a lapse of judgment, sir? What the fuck? I don't, excuse my French, but this is ridiculous. You're right, Mark. A lapse of judgment. You are literally a judge. You are supposed to have the judgment. DA knew he should recuse from. Yeah.
Beth McCann says the prosecutor on the case should have agreed to the challenge.
And so to me, it's not worth taking the risk that you might have this result. So Why would you take that risk in a first-degree murder case?
The 4th Judicial DA told 9 News that they are currently discussing with the AG whether to appeal this decision to the state Supreme Court or just proceed to retrying the case. All 3 experts we talked to today say a Supreme Court appeal is a long shot.
I would imagine there'll be a discussion about whether it's worth wasting in my opinion, wasting everybody's time.
And I found that to be interesting when I heard that, because I was like, okay, so they still could fight this, but from what she's saying, she doesn't think that it's going to do any good because it's there in black and white that this person should not have been on the jury. So it's a royal F up.
To take an appeal when it seems to be pretty clear.
Letitia Stout's defense team argued that she was psychotic at the time of this killing, so the details of a retrial are...
Excuse, ma'am. Psychotic during what happened? No, you're just a demon. Oh, I was psychotic when this happened. No, I hate these people. It's the judge's only job to make sure both sides are getting a fair... Yeah, like... They're literally just there to sit, look at both sides, examine everything. Like,
likely to focus on that all over again. Both McCann and Morrissey told me prosecutors will be ready for retrial. Live in the studio, Steve Steger, 9 News.
This is perplexing on so many levels, because I would think that we've all covered a lot of cases, but I would think that even if you're not in the legal system, haven't covered any cases, you would scratch your head and say, why was this allowed?
When you cover high-profile cases, there was a dissent in this opinion. One of the judges on the panel felt that the defense should have used their preemptory challenge to get rid of this juror. If they challenged it for cause...
Aurora, I know. Oh, my God. Oh, I think we're all still recovering from that. Oh my God. That was a lot. It was a lot.
And that was denied, that they should have taken the extra step. But several attorneys we talked to today said that's an unreasonable expectation for the defense to have to waste a preemptory challenge on someone when, the judge should have excused that juror for cause to begin with.
And that was the case that it felt like it took so long to get to the actual trial itself, and the amount of money and time spent on that case. And it was awful. I can't imagine what it was like to listen to that testimony.
Agree. I'm agreeing with what she says. I'm agreeing with what you're saying, Aurora. Yeah, this is a big disaster. What a disaster.
Testimony, and for everybody involved to hear it again and again.
It was a horrific case at the time, made national headlines, took 3 years to get to court, 3 years to get that resolution for the family. Stock's family said today they obviously are not looking forward to having to hear this all over again. They just want justice.
I can't even imagine that. All right, thanks so much.
All right. So what I'm going to do, because I'm so angry and I would just like to remember Add me back to the stage. Remove. And we're going to add this to the stage. I don't know. We're going to start with these. She really does not deserve any mercy. Yeah. You're not on stage. Oh. Thanks, Frank. So y'all couldn't hear me read that. Yeah. All right. Well, that's fine. It's a day. It's a day today. Were you guys able to read that? Y'all read that, right? You can read. I'm sure you guys can read. If not, I can read it to you again. You want me to read it to you again? I can read it to you again. Let me get my copy because I can't see. A blind plea is a criminal defense strategy where a defendant pleads guilty or no contest to charges without a negotiated plea agreement with the prosecution. The sentence is left entirely to the judge's discretion within statutory limits, creating a blind risk regarding the final outcome, unlike negotiated plea bargains. I knew that Frank couldn't read. That's why I figured I would read it. So yeah, that's what a blind plea is. So he's basically saying, all right, I'm going to go ahead and plea guilty or no contest, and I have no idea what the judge is going to sentence me to. And Colt, I know you were with me when I covered this case last summer when it broke out, and it's pretty disturbing. So I'm going to play the first couple news clips from last summer, and then we're going to get into the new news clips, and then we've got a video that I think it's either Law & Crime or Court TV did. I'm warning you guys.
We now have an update on the case regarding an 11-year-old in Muskogee who gave birth earlier this month.
Nobody, not even the neighbors. They say things, but they don't know what was going on.
I'm Isabel Flores with 2 News Oklahoma. You just heard from the 11-year-old's grandmother, Michelle Justice, who we spoke to in an exclusive interview last week. She has just been placed under arrest for child neglect. This comes after it was found through a paternity test that the 11-year-old's stepfather was found to have a 99% DNA match to the baby she birthed.
Yeah, Frank, I told you guys. I don't think I could give enough warning for this one. Oh, shit. What'd I do? I just went ahead. Sorry.
I'm Isabel Flores with 2 News Oklahoma. You just heard from the 11-year-old's grandmother.
Oh, were you here for this one? Do you not remember this? Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
Michelle Justice, who we spoke to in an exclusive interview last week. She has just been placed under arrest.
In this house, and so the neighbor, we're going to get into the neighbor and what she has to say. I love this little old lady. She really tried. And the fact that she says that she made calls, and if people really went out there and checked on this girl and saw just the outside of this house, the condition on the outside of this house alone, something would have been done, because there are bungee cords keeping the front door closed. Okay? So yeah. This is crazy. It's wild. This is in Muskogee, Oklahoma, by the way. And this happened this broke around August of last year.
For child neglect. This comes after it was found through a paternity test that the 11-year-old's stepfather was found to have a 99% DNA match to the baby she birthed.
I live next door. I have witnessed them go back and forth to their mama's house across the street. She has provided for their needs because they have no running water for the last 2 or 3 years.
Last week, I spoke with a neighbor who lives next to the house the 11-year-old and her siblings were removed from.
No running water for the last 2 to 3 years, you guys. Do you know how many children are living in this house? 2 adults and over a handful of children. Over a handful of children.
She believes the entire family knew what was happening. The child's stepfather, Dustin
Hey, what up, Polly?
Walker, and her mother, Cherie Walker, were also arrested last week on child neglect charges, according to an affidavit filed in Muskogee County. Authorities say the parents
You guys see this piece of shit? Look at that. Look at that face. And look at her face. She almost looks like a man. Y'all know I curse around here. Again, I'm an adult on an adult channel talking about adult situations, so I'm sorry if y'all are offended, but if y'all are more offended by me cussing than you are about these cases, well, I don't know what to tell y'all, so.
David filed in Muskogee County. Authorities say the parents failed to provide medical care for their 11-year-old daughter, who was 36 weeks pregnant and delivered inside the home. Both parents claimed they didn't know she was pregnant. The child.
I know you fucking lying. All right, look. No medical care for over a year. Didn't know she was pregnant till she gave birth in the house with no medical care. Grandma said she didn't know anything was going on. Mama said she didn't know anything was going on. Apparently nobody has eyes, can't see shit. This is an 11-year-old little girl. No one's taking accountability for anything anywhere in this situation. Well, you just entered a blind plea, sir. I'm pretty sure that judge, and the blind plea, I'm pretty sure he's just hoping that he's going to get some kind of mercy. So hey, Curvo, how do you not notice? That is beyond me. It's beyond me. They knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. I can guarantee you that. But, oh, absolutely they were full of it. I forgot what I was going to say. Squirrel. Oh my God, my ADHD. But, I don't know. I done forgot what I was going to say or what I was going on about. But, yeah, all of these people are absolutely horrible.
The child had not seen a doctor in over a year. The district attorney's office confirmed Justice faces.
And she looks confused as all hell. Look at her. She's like, pardon me? What do you mean? She's all like, what do you mean? Oh my God.
6 counts of child neglect. The affidavit states Justice lived across the street from her granddaughter, saw her almost daily, and was in regular contact, including the.
So you saw your granddaughter every single day and you didn't know? Okay. Okay.
Day she gave birth. It also states Justice cared for 5 other children in the same home, but failed to report the pregnancy.
I think Grandma thought she was doing what was right to help those kids.
I found this little old lady.
What parent allows that?
In Muskogee, Isabel Flores.
I love that little old lady. She said, but what parent? She's so sweet. She's so sweet. Okay. So, yeah. Judy, I still don't know the update on that. That's tragic. Like that, you're traumatized for life at that point, or you don't look like that. All right. So let's get to the next. Get my shit together today. All right.
An Oklahoma couple is facing serious charges after authorities say the wife's 11-year-old daughter gave birth last month. The mother and stepfather appearing in court today. Our cameras were the only ones rolling as that couple walked into the courtroom. Jaya Brown has details on what happened.
The parents of that 11-year-old child were in a Muskogee County courtroom today, which is their very first court appearance since their arrest. The goal was set to a preliminary court date in the case, which has now been set for November 24th. Cameras were not allowed inside of the Oklahoma courtroom, but the parents, Dustin and Cherie Walker, kept their heads down and showed no emotion the entire 3 minutes of the
Yeah, little bitches, I bet you did keep your heads down. Ain't nobody want to see those faces anyway. Oh my God. Oh my God. Fucking looking like, I can't, Jarvis Butts every time he went into the courtroom looking like, don't look at me. I'm a scumbag. Don't look at me. Fucking pitiful ass. I'm not even gonna call them men because they ain't.
The hearing. Authorities say the 11-year-old girl, who's the daughter to Cherie Walker, gave birth to a full-term baby at the family's home on August 16th. She was later taken to...
What's the youngest? Because this is not the first case that this has happened. What is the youngest y'all have heard of a young girl giving birth full term? Oh, is PJ still in here? I can't see. Well, thank you anyways for putting in her. Yeah. I don't know what the youngest is that I've heard of. What? Judy, no. How is that even possible? That's crazy. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's crazy. I'm gonna have to look that up.
To a hospital where police were immediately notified, and DNA testing confirmed that the girl's stepfather, Dustin Walker, is the father of the baby, leading to a 99.9% match.
It is a tragedy that an 11-year-old child was raped and then had to give birth at home with absolutely no medical attention whatsoever. We are alleging that the father is the stepdad of the child. We are also alleging neglect, and as I know you know, these are charges, not convictions at this time.
The district attorney says the 11-year-old was taken to a hospital by an ambulance after she was allegedly hemorrhaging, and EMS were the ones to cut the umbilical cord. Dustin Walker now faces charges of child sexual abuse and neglect. The girl's mother, Cherie Walker, is charged with enabling child sexual abuse. Both she and Dustin Walker are now being held on a $100,000 bond. In addition, Michelle Justice, who authorities say is connected.
Ain't that some kind of last name in a case like this? Justice? Mm-mm. When I was in 6th grade, a girl got preggers and oh. Oof.
To the child and said to be an alleged neighbor, has been charged with 6 counts of child neglect.
We are alleging that she too was a caretaker of the children and failed to correct certain conditions or report the fact that the child was pregnant.
Justice is now in custody on a $75,000 bond, and the 11-year-old and her 5 siblings have been removed from the Walker's home. In the meantime, we'll be sure to...
Okay, so you had in a house where there wasn't any running water for 2 to 3 years, a bungee cord was keeping the front door closed, so we know there wasn't a lock on it, right? What'd she say? There was five kids, 6 kids. So you had the 2 parents, 5 kids. So yeah, 5, 6, 7. So like 7, 8 people in that house. That's crazy. And you can't tell me that a social worker went out there, looked at all that and said, no problem here. I don't think a social worker went out there. Because I believe that old lady called somebody, but I don't believe anyone went out there.
Keep you updated with the latest ahead of that preliminary hearing.
All right. So those were the old ones.
Thank you. A Muskogee County case involving an 11-year-old girl giving birth, making a major step forward this morning. The stepfather accused in the case is due in court today, and 2 News Oklahoma reporter CJ Macklin following every development. He's live in the studio this morning and has more details on this case. CJ?
Julie, a big focus in this case has been on the 11-year-old stepfather, Dustin Walker, who was found to be the father of the baby she gave birth to through a DNA test. Today is set to enter a blind plea. Walker, along with the girl's mother and grandmother, all claim they did not know about the girl's pregnancy. According to several reports in the courtroom earlier this year, that 11-year-old girl gave birth at their home and never visited a doctor or received prenatal care.
Wow.
During the preliminary hearing in January, Dustin waived his right to be a part of that hearing. He was in the
That's crazy, Cole.
courtroom for no longer than 5 minutes as he faces 6 counts of child neglect and 1 count of sexual abuse with a child under 12, all felony charges.
I think he was just trying to spare himself a lot of bad information being heard in hopes that maybe he can enter a plea.
But what is a blind plea? Let me break it down for you. A blind plea is when the defendant pleads guilty without a plea agreement or deal in place. There are multiple reasons why someone would enter a blind plea. The evidence is too overwhelming to hear in court, and they want to possibly get a better sentence from the judge, or the defendant wants to avoid trial altogether. Walker will face the judge this morning for that blind plea at Muskogee County Courthouse at 9 a.m. 2 News will be there, and we'll bring you those updates on air and online. Reporting in studio, I'm CJ Macklin, 2 News Oklahoma.
With breaking news at this hour, Pearl Fernandez.
Oh, all right. So yeah, those are the 3 news clips that I had for that case. And then I have I think it's Law and Crime. I have a video that they did on this that will shine some more information. And then that's pretty much all I've got for today. I didn't have too much because I'm still doing my live on Monday for the Shonda Vander Ark stuff. When I saw this, I wanted to come on here and talk about it. And then there was so much stuff that happened throughout the week. And I was like, oh my God, we got to talk about it. So the girl was absent from school. They finally, yeah. No, they sure don't. They sure don't. Pretty sure that's why Jarvis Butts did what he did. Just saying. Before someone else could get to him. All right. Oh, shit. All right, so we'll get into this.
Quick warning, right out of the gate. This story is nothing short of a nightmare. What this stepfather did is unthinkable. An 11-year-old girl gives birth inside her Oklahoma home. And now the allegations that the stepfather faced, they are fact. His fate is sealed. What comes next for the others involved in this disturbing case is unclear, but it's certainly.
It's so crazy. Like, when we're kids, we don't, we're completely oblivious to that kind of stuff unless, it's in your own home and happening to you. But yeah, you never know what's happening to your friends or your classmates. And it's crazy what these families are okay with, especially religious families.
Is true that this is the kind of story that will bring out every negative emotion. We're on the case.
And I want to know, were any of the other children in the home abused?
Presented by Law and Crime, I'm Chris Stewart. All right, guys, real quick, I want to talk about our sponsor today.
Oh, Frank. When I was younger, when I was all like 14 and 15, hanging out with 20-something-year-old dudes, I thought I was so cool. No, they were freaking taking advantage of me. I had no idea what was going on. They were fucking gross. And I was just a kid. I had no idea.
And it's an important one because staying on top of the news is crucial. But if you have concerns about media bias and you're asking yourself, I don't know who or what to believe, let me introduce you to our sponsor, Straight Arrow News. Straight Arrow News is a personalized news platform that gives readers fact-based journalism to inform and build trust. Their Media Miss tool shows readers headlines that are not seen on mainstream outlets, providing useful commentary that cuts through sensational spin. Their site and
Oh, I was trying to get past
the news,
that.
go to san.com/OTC or just click the link in my description. Straight Arrow News, skip the drama, get the facts. Welcome back to trustworthy journalism. It is truly hard to find any words for this story. The way a stepfather appears to have handled the allegations that he faced does tell you a lot. This is that stepfather. His name is Dustin Walker, and he just admitted guilt to the kind of charges that as a human being,
Sorry.
it's hard to fathom. This is video of when he made a court appearance in Oklahoma per KJRH TV. This story taking place about an hour away from Tulsa. Now, the charges...
He even looks scummy. I wish I could draw on this. You guys can't see my mouse. See, this is why I wish I could figure out how to use OBS, because I'd be drawing circles all around his face or crossing him out or little demon horns. Oh, he's so gross. What the fuck is up with that little curly Q on the top of his little bald ass head? Sorry, Frank. Nothing against baldies. Sorry.
That Walker faced felony sexual abuse of a child under the age of 12 and 6 felony counts of child neglect. And he has pleaded guilty to all of them. But this guilty plea does not come as part of a plea deal. And there's still some questions about how this case is going to play out. We're going to talk about that and what his punishment may be in just a moment. Now, even though it might be fair to say that there is not a punishment steep enough for what law enforcement found, this man did. Now, he's not the only one who faced charges in this case. You have Walker's wife, her name is Cherie, and Cherie's mom, who's the victim's grandmother, and the newborn baby's great-grandmother. The two of them are also facing charges.
It definitely looks like some Oklahoma shit. It looks like some backwoods Oklahoma shit. Definitely. He looks weak and needy. He's probably somebody's bee right now.
In this case. Now, before we break down what could happen to them, what their cases look like right now, I want to go back and lay out the disturbing details for you in this one. This story, at least for those on the outside and for law enforcement, it started on August 16th inside this home in Muskogee, Oklahoma, which is about an hour away from Tulsa. According to local media, the district attorney prosecuting this case said inside that home, an 11-year-old girl gave birth to a full-term baby on that day. Now, authorities say the 11-year-old victim, she hadn't seen a doctor in more than a year. And you just think about this young girl, what she went through, and the pregnancy that she had to go through. And she went through it out of the sight of medical professionals. She received...
A child not seeing a doctor in a year is crazy in itself. But think about, okay, so I'm 42, 43 years old, something like that. I don't remember. I don't care. I've never had kids, but I know women who have had kids. I've seen women, they usually go to the doctor for checkups very frequently when they're pregnant. Imagine being an 11-year-old and not having any checkups. So not only had she not seen a doctor for a year, just being a child in general, but she hadn't seen a doctor throughout her entire pregnancy as an 11-year-old. So she's not getting any support. She's not getting any medical care. It's absolutely insane. Hi, Vic. Good to see you. Good to see you. You're not late. You're not late. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't care.
No medical care.
I swear, cold. Once I turned 40, I stopped. I turned it off. I was like, I don't know how old I am anymore after this.
According to law enforcement, this girl wasn't enrolled in school either, so she was out of the sight of authority figures that potentially could have done something to help. Now, when law enforcement realized what had happened, and they were trying to piece together how it could happen, they spoke to the girl's parents. So you have her mom, Cherie, and then you have the victim's stepdad, Dustin Walker. Now, initially, the Walkers told police that they were shocked that the girl gave birth, that they claimed that they had no idea that the 11-year-old girl was pregnant. Let's talk about that for a second.
I'm going to call her Cherie and him Dusty because I don't want to share the same name as her. I don't like that. So we're going to call her Cherie and he's Dusty, not Dustin. So we're just going to change their names because we don't like them. Yeah, anyways.
Because the DA told local media that, frankly, it just seemed like a lie. The DA said the girl was, quote, petite. So at full term, an 11-year-old being pregnant, it would be obvious. Now, Dustin was 34 years old at the time of the arrest. The girl's mom was 33. Now, when we found the Facebook pages for the Walkers, we found pictures showing them holding young children. And neighbors told local media in Tulsa that 6 children lived inside that house along with multiple dogs and cats. And to make matters worse, the neighbors claimed that the house with all those people inside did not have running water for as long as 3 years leading up to the uncovering of this house of horror and the alleged abuse that took place inside. Now, here's how the investigation went down to our understanding. Police have this 11-year-old girl who gave birth. They have a baby and they have the horrible conditions inside the home. And on top of that, you have the Walkers who are claiming they have no idea how any of this could happen. Now, at first, the Walkers were arrested and their initial charges, 6 counts of child neglect, 1 for each child inside of the home. That baby, though, was tested for DNA, and that is when this sad and sick case took a major step forward because the DNA came back and it showed reportedly with a 99% certainty that Dustin Walker was the father. And at that point, a charge of sexual abuse of a child under the age of 12 was added to his case. As far as Cherie Walker, Dustin's wife, she was charged with enabling sexual abuse. Cherie Walker did not appear to have a criminal record prior to this, but Dustin did. And we found 2 cases that involved him. You have one in 2020 where he was charged with firing a gun inside his home. And that case appears to have ended in him paying a fine. Records show that the case was sent to collections. Then in 2023, he was charged with domestic assault and battery in the presence of a minor.
I got to add myself to the stage. Well, there you go, Polly. That's probably your answer. Domestic assault. That's probably all the dents in her nose.
And that case was dismissed. Now, clearly the health and safety of the 11-year-old victim and the baby, as well as the other children who were living inside that home with the Walkers, is so important to focus on in this case. In the wake of the Walkers' arrest, the district attorney said the 11-year-old victim was traumatized and she had to give birth inside this home that reportedly did not have running water, and she did so without medical care. Now, on top of that, this girl hadn't seen a doctor in more than a year, and she had not been in school either. And you just think of those places.
And if she hadn't seen a doctor and she wasn't enrolled in school, I imagine she wasn't getting any kind of education at home either. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure these people weren't educated enough to educate her.
Not just as places where you can get medical care, but those are places where people could have intervened. They could have stepped in and helped. But instead, this girl was kept out of sight, according to authorities. Now, one of the people accused of aiding the abuse and the horrific situation is Cherie's mom, the victim's grandmother and that newborn's great-grandmother, biologically.
Yeah, Cole, she's 11. She's got to be tiny. Most women, it's very rare women give birth without some kind of pain meds. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it. I've never been pregnant. I'm never gonna be pregnant. Hopefully, I'm never gonna be pregnant. I'm pretty sure it's too late for that. But anyways, yeah, gave birth with no running water. Polly, the grandma was shuffling water back and forth from her house to their house for years. I gave y'all the warning. I gave y'all the trigger warning. I put it up there multiple times. I know it's gross, and everybody's disgusted by it. It's definitely a foul case.
Her name is Michelle Justice. Now, on the day this story came to light, there was a reporter with KJRH-TV in Tulsa. This reporter went to the neighborhood just trying to...
Oh, Frank, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. I threw it up there for her.
Gather information to tell this story and what happened. And she reported that there was a woman taking videos of her from across the street. She then approached that woman on her way out of the neighborhood, and this is what the woman told her.
We didn't know this was happening. None of us.
How do you think your granddaughter got pregnant?
She keeps telling us that it was the little 12-year-old.
Now, the woman you just heard speaking there,
You ugly lying son of a bitch. Oh. Order in the court. Did this old hag just say, oh, I think that. She knows damn good and well how that baby got pregnant. Let's run that back. Hold on, let's run that back a little bit. Do.
there was a woman taking videos of her from across the street. She then approached that woman on her way out of the neighborhood, and this is what the woman told her.
We didn't know this was happening. None of us.
Judy, she had to think about something to say. She was all like, oh shit, what can I say? What can I say? What can I say? The neighbor boy. I'm gonna go with that one. You know what? I think her and the neighbor boy was playing around. Girl. Ooh, I know she lying.
Do you think your granddaughter got pregnant?
She keeps telling us that it was the little 12-year-old.
Now, the woman you just heard speaking there, that is Michelle Justice. Here's her mugshot. And according to law enforcement,
shame on you, old hag, for blaming that on another little boy. That is just another little boy. She's blaming that on another child, on another minor.
what you just heard her say to the reporter was a lie. Justice was arrested and charged with 6 counts of child neglect. It's believed a total of 6 children, again, lived inside that house, including the 11-year-old girl. Justice is reportedly that 11-year-old's grandmother, and she reportedly also lived in the home where that child gave birth. In fact, she's been accused of allegedly witnessing the birth. Now, at the time of this recording, Cherie Walker and Michelle Justice, they are still facing those charges. Their cases are ongoing. As far as Dustin Walker, he entered what's called a blind plea to these charges. And that means there's no plea deal in place, but he is entering pleas of guilty to all charges. And now it is up to the court to decide what his punishment will be. Previously, the DA told media outlets that Dustin could spend the rest of his life in prison based on these charges. His sentencing is set for June 18th. There's a pre-sentence investigation that will take place before that. Now, the charges he's pleading.
And I will absolutely stay on top of this story and keep you guys informed of what's going on.
Guilty to are also what are considered 85% crimes in Oklahoma, which means whatever his sentence is, he will have to serve at least 85% of it. Walker's defense attorney told KJRH-TV that it's not typical for him to advise a client to enter a blind plea, but in this situation, he, quote, didn't feel like there was one.
I mean, what you gonna, it's 99.9% a baby boy. Like, there's no denying that you're guilty, bro.
One that we could get that would be useful or helpful in any way. And he described the potential punishment as, quote, wide open. Join us now to
I can smell him from here.
talk more about this case is practice professor of law at Temple University and former child abuse and sex crimes prosecutor Marian Bracha. Always great to have you here on Law and Crime. I know this story is just, it's incredibly difficult. What does it tell you that Dustin Walker enters a blind plea to all the charges?
She's getting charged as well, Judy. I'm pretty sure she's getting charged. I don't know what I'm gonna say Cherie, because I don't like Cherie. But I'm pretty sure that those two are also being charged. But as far as him, so far we know that he's taking the blind plea
That he's facing in this case.
Well, I think he probably received some advice from counsel that the prosecution's case was evidentiarily very strong. I think as we talked about when we first covered this case, it was entirely possible, or it would have been entirely possible, to proceed to trial and to try this entire case and present.
I wonder, oh my God, I wonder, hold on, go back, hold on. I wonder if this is one of her children or if this is the baby. I wonder if this is the newborn. I didn't think about that before. That would be crazy. Because they wouldn't show the face if it was the newborn. Anyways, that's just a thought.
This entire case and present the entirety of the state's evidence against the defendant without live testimony. It very well could have been proven to the state's burden beyond a reasonable doubt, based on the medical records of the pregnancy and the birth and delivery, and the DNA results that match the defendant's DNA to the child who was born of this abuse. And so I think he recognized the strength of the prosecution's case against him, and is likely throwing himself at the mercy of the court and hoping for something less than a life sentence.
Yeah, what does a defendant get? I mean, when you're doing a blind plea as opposed to saying, I'm just going to try my hand at a trial, and in this case, it feels like the trial might have been, here's the DNA results, there it is. I mean, what does he get out of it if by just entering a blind plea?
I think what he gets out of it is, or at least what he's likely hoping to get out of it, is mercy from the court, is a recognition that he has spared the victim having to testify, or at least being involved in the court process at all, knowing that there is a criminal prosecution happening. It has spared her being contacted by investigators, by prosecutors, by other court personnel, asking if she would be inclined to give what's known as a victim impact statement. It spares.
She looks so different right there with her little winged eyeliner.
The court system, the resources, and the time to go to a trial, which of course is still his constitutional right. But it's in recognition of the fact that those are costly and time-consuming endeavors to bring a defendant to trial. And so likely what he is thinking is that I am giving up these rights, and I hope that my sentencing judge will recognize that I could have exercised these rights and would have been constitutionally within my rights to demand a trial. But I am not, and I have not. And for that, could some mercy be shown in terms of, I don't think anyone's expecting leniency in this case. I don't think anyone's expecting, a slap on the wrist or any kind of probationary sentence. But in all likelihood, he's hoping for.
Like, dude, you deserve life, period. Just take it. Just take it and go. Like, I don't understand why he thinks that he deserves anything less. That's crazy. Y'all women do evil things to look so different. She looks so different right there.
Less than a life sentence, and would be essentially bargaining his constitutional rights against that hope.
What goes into a judge, the decision now? So he enters the blind plea. I know he's going to be sentenced. I think it's June 18th is the date. And they said there was going to be a pre-sentence investigation that goes on. Like, what's the process between he's entered this plea, he's pleading guilty, to then the moment the judge says, this is what your sentence is going to be?
Sure. So it varies state by state, but a pre-sentence investigation is typically a very intensive process by which an assigned investigator who's appointed by the court system does an intensive interview with the defendant himself to find out about a biographical history, psychological history, family history, sociological history, and also can conduct some interviews of people closest to the defendant. So in all likelihood, they wouldn't be going to his wife, because I'm sure, as we'll talk about, she has a Fifth Amendment right to remain silent because of the charges that she's facing currently, but they could certainly speak with other family members, his parents, siblings, people who know him in the community to find out about him as a person, to find out about his involvement in the community, his background, his upbringing. In certain states, there are also evaluations by psychologists or psychiatrists. And in this particular case, that will likely happen because there are reporting requirements that are attendant to these certain sexual offenses. And of course, I'm referring to Megan's Law registration. And so many states will require an evaluation by what's known as the Sex Offender Assessment Board. In Pennsylvania, that's what we call it. I'm fairly certain that there are analogous boards in the state of Oklahoma that would do an evaluation like
Polly, be careful. We've got a sensitive one in here about the baldness and the hairlines.
that. And depending on the circumstances and depending even on what the pre-sentence investigation reveals, there might be an order for even a drug and alcohol or other substance abuse evaluation to see if those services might be necessary or might be recommended during the term of incarceration if that were to be imposed.
And when it comes to the two other cases that are playing out, but specifically Cherie Walker, who is facing this charge of enabling the abuse that Dustin Walker is pleading guilty. And I'm sure for her defense attorney, it might not be a surprise that it went this way. Like once the news came out about the DNA, it kind of shows what happened inside of the home. But how does the fact that this is now somewhat final with a guilty plea impact how her case could go moving forward?
Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, I actually don't think it has much of an impact on the other defendants' cases, either one of them, frankly, because both of them are. Notice there's, as far as I know, there's no conspiracy charge, so there's no allegation from the state that this was action in concert, that there was some meeting of the minds or some agreement beforehand that this abuse, that this activity was going to take place. So one is not.
Cole does have some thick hair. She could loan y'all some. She's got pretty hair.
Necessarily dependent on the other, but
I mean, technically, I could cut some off. I got some real long hair. My hair's still going. I got really long hair.
I think with both of the defendants that remain, the mother and the grandmother, there are viable motions from their defense attorneys to say, listen, this case, our case has nothing to do with that defendant who pled guilty. He had a guilty mind and recognized the wrongfulness of his actions and also recognized the evidentiary strength of the prosecution's case against him. That was his decision to make. That has no bearing on the guilt or not guilt of our client. So we're not even going to go there. We're not going to mention the stepfather's case. We're not going to mention the fact that he pled guilty or whatever potential penalty he might be facing. And we're going to say that the state still has a burden. The state still has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that there was enabling happening, that this mother knew of the abuse that was happening, and it's a specific.
I should probably say, for those of you who are on replay and aren't looking at the live chat and just see me randomly giggling, I'm not giggling at the situation. I'm giggling at the people in the chat being funny and ridiculous.
Intent crime, that she had this knowledge and it intended to allow this abuse to occur. And so to that extent, you need to prove all of these separate elements of this separate charge against her beyond a reasonable doubt, without any regard to what that other defendant, what the stepfather knew, should have known, or did do and pled guilty to. So I do see them as separate entities, and I don't think one would influence the other very much.
And when you look at going back to Dustin Walker and the crimes that he is pleading guilty to, they're considered 85% crimes. And that would mean that he would have to serve at least 85%.
Judy, yes, we absolutely have to laugh through these hard cases. And I appreciate you guys in the chat so much. I appreciate you guys being here, listening to these cases, because they are important. These victims' stories are important. Their names are important.
Like, what goes into, once he's sentenced, maybe it's the rest of his life, maybe it's just a very long period of time. What goes into how long he actually will have to serve time?
Hopefully life.
Sure. So the sentencing judge will impose a sentence. And so, again, states vary. Some states will impose a flat sentence, meaning, it's 5 years or 10 years or 20 years or whatever the definite term of incarceration is. Other states will give a range. They'll say, 3 to 6 years or 15 to 30 years. I'm just giving you arbitrary numbers as an example. And in those states that give a range, the minimum has to be met. So that first number, that 3 of the 3 to 6, or that 15 of the 15 to 30. Now, even in
15 to 30 is not enough. That's not enough. People are not mad enough. They're not angry enough. They're not getting the picture. They must not have children. They must not have daughters. They must not have been a victim themselves or have gone through something like this. Like, they're not mad enough. 15 to 30 is not enough. He needs life. I mean, if he's not going to get the death penalty for this, he needs life without parole, period.
State.
There's no, I don't care if you go into a blind plea saying, oh my God, please just have mercy on me. You didn't have mercy on that 11-year-old little girl when you got her pregnant.
That will give a range of sentencing. Typically that 85%, if there is such a thing as an 85% rule in those states, it would be 85% of the max. And so that could mean that if Dustin Walker is sentenced to a 20-year flat sentence, it would be 85% of those 20 years. If he's sentenced to a range, of Oklahoma is a state where they impose a ranged sentence, 15 to 30 years, for instance, it would typically be an 85% calculation of whatever the maximum sentence is. So it would almost.
I don't understand why you only have to serve a percentage. Your sentence is your sentence. It's not like a bond where you only got to pay 10%. Like this was your crime. This is your punishment. What is this? You only got, all right, so I'm gonna give you this amount, but you only got to serve this amount. No, your crime was your crime.
Certainly go beyond the minimum.
The charges, of course, like what he's done, what he's pleading guilty to. I mean, it's.
Listen, I'm self-conscious about my eyebrows, okay? Don't talk about my eyebrows like that. Jesus Christ. Now I'm gonna have to cover my face.
So difficult to just comprehend it. I think it's disgusting and sad. Come the day of his sentencing, and if he gives the greatest, stands up and is apologetic and says everything that someone can say in those moments when they have the opportunity to address the court, like, does any of that ever have an impact on a judge? Could it have an impact on a judge and how things go in that moment, that day when?
Stop talking about my eyebrows.
You're given the opportunity to speak. Absolutely. And I think that any judge in this country wouldn't be upholding their oath if they didn't fully consider a defendant's own allocution, meaning that the defendant gets to speak in his own defense or in his own right at a sentencing proceeding. So I think that it is the judge's responsibility to listen and to consider a defendant's admission or recognition of guilt, and assumption of responsibility and accountability, whether or not that is compelling enough to migrate the sentence downward, meaning to give a lesser term than a judge would have otherwise imposed. I don't know, but that's why we give our judges the trust from the community, and they are in those positions of authority to do what the record and what.
Don't worry, it's almost over.
the circumstances and what their community deems appropriate in any particular case. And so it's entirely possible that a defendant's allocution could sway a judge. It's also entirely possible that a defendant's allocution could hurt their case and could end up making the sentence even stiffer or higher. So it really all depends.
And when it comes to the victim in this case, and for her to be so young, and then you also have this child, I mean, how does the system, when it comes to where they live, and I'm not sure what the family situation is beyond, the mom, the stepdad, and of course the grandmother facing the charges, but it seems like a unique situation where you have,
Hey, Simi, good to see you. Happy Good Friday. We're almost done here, but yeah, you walked in something. You'll have to go back and rewatch if you want to.
someone's still a newborn, and then you have someone who's incredibly young and still is a child as well. Like, how does the system handle that?
Yeah, this baby still needs to be taking care of herself. Like, and clearly she's not educated because she wasn't in school. So I don't know how that's going to work. I'm assuming that someone else, hopefully not in that family. I don't know I'm hoping that someone capable and loving and nurturing is taking care of them.
Where they live and what happens to them.
It is a potentially very, very sad story. I don't want to write the ending to this story before there is one. But this has the makings of a potentially very sad story. So I would hope that there are social workers involved. I would hope that there are child wraparound services involved that can help this child heal both as a child and as a survivor of this assault, and also give her the tools if she is in a position to wield them, to be a parent if that is the direction she's taking her life, if she has opted to be a parent and be involved in this child's life. Whatever happens, I hope that they both, the victim and her child, I hope that they both have the supports they need to heal and to thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally.
And then just lastly on the neglect charges, Dustin Walker is pleading guilty to 6 of those, and then Cherie Walker is facing those charges, and then Michelle Justice, she is facing the felony neglect charges as well. There were reports.
If it's 6, I'm guessing it's for all 6 children. So 6, 7, 8. So there were 8 people living in that house with no water for 2 to 3 years. I wonder if there was electric. It didn't say anything about electricity. And then you got grandma shuffling water back and forth from her house that was across the road. I'm guessing the 6 counts of neglect are for the 6 children, not plus whatever counts against the 11-year-old.
Reports at the house where these people were living did not have running water. On one hand, I know that people, everybody lives differently. Everybody has different situations. But in terms of the law, what is the bar for this is neglect, especially in cases involving minors?
Yeah. So again, it varies by state and it's going to vary by community. And so most of our statutes and most of our legal standards are written to what's known as the reasonable person standard. So would a reasonable person in this defendant's position, living in this defendant's community, raising children in these circumstances, would that reasonable person who's, not coming from a completely different socioeconomic class, not coming from a completely different society, if you will, with different supports, we're talking about someone in this defendant's position, would they deem it reasonable to subject a child to these living conditions, or to deprive a child of the medical care, of the food, of the running water, of the other utilities and accommodations that they need? Would that person in that position deem it reasonable to raise?
Thank you, Frank. I am about to wrap up. It's almost done. So thank you.
A child or subject a child to those conditions? And if the answer is no, and if the evidence is compelling and met and proved beyond a reasonable doubt, then those elements would arguably be met and a conviction could ensue.
Hey, Kane.
Yeah,
Good to
and
see
we'll see what
you.
happens next in this case. A very, very difficult story out of Oklahoma, the Tulsa area there. Marion Bracha, always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, there was that. So there's that update, all of the updates. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave everybody until Monday. And then I'm doing a 12-hour shift today. I wish I could stay. Girl, we're leaving. We're done. That's it. We're getting out of here. So thank you all for being here. Hi, Kane. We're saying bye, though. Thank you for coming, but you can come back Monday if you want. I'm going to continue on the Shanda Vander Ark journey. We're going to be going over some more of that. I believe we're going to be getting into her testimony from the first trial. So that will be going on around 2 p.m. Thank you, Mark. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. If you could hit that like button for me. And that's about it. Unless, I don't know if I'm missing anything. All right. Well, you guys take care. Have a good one. Bye.
So